What's going on, noobs? I'm the Perpetual Noob, and welcome back to another Hollow Knight Silksong First Win Boss video guide thingy. Today, we are talking about the Cogwork Dancers, which is actually in my top 5 fights for all of Hollow Knight Silksong so far. Yeah, I really like this fight. We'll get into that in a little bit. We find the Cogwork Dancers in the Citadel, and okay, now we can get into it. I guess I just wanted to get that line out of the way. This is where they are. Yeah, their fight is just... I love the design. And in watching my footage again, I was seeing that there are just so many little details here and there within the fight itself, within their design. There is going to be so much to talk about in the boss discussion because it's going to take me a long time to properly analyze this footage and find all the things that I was kind of starting to notice when I was just rewatching the little bits of footage that I already have. But that's for another time. Let's get into this little guide thingy. First and foremost, they do 2 masks of damage. Second, they have what I was kind of calling 3 attacks. And for the most part, and we'll get into this a little bit more, they attack simultaneously. Again, please leave in the comments below what you think the attack name should be. I was kind of going a little bit on a dance, kind of thing. I can't imagine why. So I'm calling this attack the Waltz, in which both dancers will move in a set direction. It's telegraphed by this beam of light of where they're going to go. And they appear, at least, to move in time with the music. So, they set their direction, then on the beat they will travel, and they travel with one of their blade arms forward. So of course the attack in their movement does damage. Their own hurt boxes do damage. So they don't even need the blade arm to be there. They're just trying to be as graceful as possible. And then they get to it goes a set distance. They will, if they're going horizontally, they seem to go across the whole arena. If they're going at a diagonal, they don't go as far. If they're going they can go from the top to the bottom of the arena. There seems to be a set distance for each one of these moves in the Waltz attack. There also seems to be a set, ending move for this attack as well. Because I was finding that, they might stop and do what I'm kind of just calling a swipe, where they would extend both of their arms out in each direction and swipe out, or one of them would do a pirouette and a bow. Again, very graceful. So yeah, there's some more detail that I needed to kind of dig into and do some research there, figure out exactly how all that works. And then there's the crisscross, where the Cogwork Dancers will crisscross the arena with beams of light. They'll set up this whole big pattern of beams of light throughout the arena, and then a short moment later they will rapidly traverse the arena along the paths that the beams of light have. And then there's their final attack, which I am calling the Tango, where an empty circle of light will appear in the center of the arena. The 2 dancers will look to it, and then they collide in the center, and they will do a whole lot of blade swipey movement things. It clearly looks like it's a very dangerous place to be for us. But at the end, one lifts the other and they look lovingly into each other's eyes. It's also an amazing time to heal, let's be real. It's a really great time to heal while they're doing the lift move. It is beautiful, it's wonderful, but it's also a great time to either heal or get a whole bunch of damage, because they're not doing anything else. The fight does happen in several phases, and it seems like 5? Maybe it's just 4, but I thought it was 5. And each phase change introduces a tempo increase to the music, which means the fight increases in speed, which is just really cool. So the second phase, the music's a little bit faster. They do all of their attacks a little bit more rapidly, so their waltzing goes a bit faster. They will maybe do the crisscross a bit more often. They maybe will do the Tango a bit more often. Everything just kind of happens a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. And then we get into the penultimate phase, and their attacks are no longer synchronized. Now they're each attacking on their own beat, aside from the crisscross and the Tango attack, if they're going to do either of those. but the waltz is now suddenly one after the other because they're not working in tandem anymore. And then in the final phase of the fight, get your tissues ready because, oh wow, it is a really sad phase. Like, the music gets all distorted, it gets much slower, and we're left with a single cogwork dancer who is not okay. It's understandable. They just lost their partner, and they try to keep fighting, but it doesn't really go well. It's pretty rough, and it's a very different take than what a lot of video games do with partner fights like this. Typically, you see at the end, when it's just one partner, that last partner is all enraged and they go faster and they hit harder and it's a more intense fight. And it was actually really cool to see this difference, see it done differently and done like this. And I felt so terrible at the end. Like, it's so sad. But a couple of things I discovered in my time fighting through the Cogwork Dancers. There's a couple of weird things, and again, the boss discussion is going to be really long because there is just a lot to this fight to analyze and to figure out. The start of the fight always seems to be the same, at least for like those first few moves of the waltz. It seemed like they were always the same sets of movements, which is kind of a nifty thing. And I wonder how long that really occurs. Like, is it always the same? Is it just a whole lot of pattern recognition, at least in phase 1? Like, what happens with that? We can parry the waltz. I did not try to parry the crisscross or the tango because I just never thought about it, but I did end up parrying the waltz at some point, and it worked. So that's cool. The crisscross will eat sting shards, and by eat, I mean it will render them useless. The crisscross will activate the sting shard, but they are moving so quickly that the sting shard does not hit anything. So it just gets activated and nothing happens. My first win against these bosses, was really fun. I mean, the fight is as close to a dance fight as this game can get, and y'all know I love fights that feel like dances. And this fight, surprising to no one, felt like a dance. It was great. They did their little move, I would react and dodge it, and then I would get some retaliatory attacks in. There is, even as the fight speeds up, there's still a good amount of time to get some attacks in after a waltz, after the crisscross, after the tango. Yes, as the fight gets faster, those windows get shorter, but they still very much exist. And there are plenty of opportunities to heal in this fight, especially with the fact that we can heal in midair. Again, I was using the Beast Crest because I just love that crest. So my healing is a little bit different, but I still had the opportunity to a tango's happening, let's hit that bind button. I mean, even after a waltz, if then you get the beams of light telling you where they're going next, they might not be going near you. They're doing their own thing. And so you can just heal again. Or at the end of a crisscross, they do a little flourish. Heal again. Lots of opportunities for that. I used the sting shards kind of a little bit. I didn't use them nearly as much as I have in other fights. Because they were just you know what? Here's some extra damage for when they're doing a waltz attack or something. Okay, whatever. It saves me from having to hit them one more time. But I never really felt like I had to rely on the sting shards for damage. Same thing with the flint slate. I brought the flint slate for a little bit of extra damage, but I just, I kind of used it every once in a while, but I didn't feel I needed to be using any of these tools. This fight feels very much like it can be Hornet versus the Cogwork Dancers, and I loved it. And yeah, that was my first win against the Cogwork Dancers. Thank you so much for joining me today, noobs. Please let me know in the comments below how you felt about this fight. What do you think about it? What little details have you noticed in this fight? I am the Perpetual Noob, and I will see you all next time.